Hey. Just give me a second. Strange. Alright. Hello everybody. Yeah, as you can see, I just started the stream and I will probably work more on the anatomy study here that you can see. I want to finish the skeleton today, and so I will stream as long as that takes. Maybe it takes longer than a few hours, maybe less, but we'll see. So let's see, is there anyone in the stream already? Not quite sure if the display of the view count is correct here or not. But yeah, welcome to anyone that joined in. As you can see, the detailing here got a bit out of hand maybe, but hey Slay, thanks for being here. And thanks for joining the Patreon. Really appreciate it. Wiggle, hi. Hi to you as well. Severio, glad to see you back. Alright. How's everybody doing? It's 6 PM right now where I live. Getting close to the afternoon. Or it's afternoon? Not quite sure where the distinction is made, but the sun is going down slowly, so Twitch is off. Why is Twitch off? That's strange. Thanks for the mention. I just refreshed the page and it seemed to be up and running. Seems like the connection is still good on both. I'm offline, that's strange. It seems here, or it's at least displayed here on Twitch, that the session is running and that I'm live, and on Restream it seems fine as well. Ah, Rolio, hey, thanks. Yeah, so it seems like Twitch is working again. Hey Jay, the man, the myth, the legend. Stop it, you. Yasua. Hi Finn, how many subdivisions is that? Most of them are basically Dynamesh to a certain level. What do I have currently? So, as you can see, the topology isn't that good. It's Dynameshed and it has 2 subdivision levels. So I'm at 1.3 million just for the hip bone here. So in general, the total study right now, with all the muscles included, and I do have a few of them here, has 18 million polygons right now. So not too heavy for that many objects, but it's definitely getting there, especially with all the detailing. So Jay, I'm doing good. I was a bit tired today. I'm not quite sure what the cause of that was, or is. But other than that, pretty relaxed day. How are you? Severio with a bit of delay. I see. Yeah, that can be because of Restream, the service I use to distribute the stream on both platforms, YouTube and Twitch. But hopefully the delay is not too big. So I see. Glad you figured it out, Slay. Alright. Busy at work. That's awesome. I hope it's awesome. But your TOEFL is making great progress, man. Really cool to see. Alright. So, I wanted to try something out today with the detailing of the rest of the skeleton. So, Jay, have you started your Halloween piece yet? No, I think I will tackle it tomorrow. Yeah, just there's so much stuff that I wanted to do, and somehow I don't manage to get as much stuff done as I wanted. So still a few days till I will be able to post something for the Halloween stuff. But yeah, I mean the current projects that we're working on, you and I, like, or anyone else right now, it feels like a distraction jumping to another project right now. So yeah, running out of time there. That's my feeling as well. All right, the thing that I wanted to try out today was to merge everything together with the transpose master, detail it, and then apply the changes to the models again. So in order to make that work, I will subdivide everything to the polygon that I want, delete all the subdivision levels, and this way I have the full resolution when I'm working on the transpose master models. So mine may come a few days after October. Hoping to get a good stab at it this weekend though. I mean, it's a loose deadline, I would say. It's just fun to have something that has a fixed time frame, but if it comes later, then it doesn't matter. So I will try to make it within or during October, so it stays inside the time frame. But as long as we're doing something, I think it's still good. So. Alright, so this one will get... How many will it get? I'm just looking for how many subdivisions I need on this one. So let's try this alpha out. Maybe one more. Yeah, it's probably overkill, but let's see how it goes. So delete lower. And I can reconstruct all of the subdivisions later, so I'm not too worried about losing my subdivisions. That's a good deadline, yeah. As long as we're in fall. So delete lower. This one, and let's see, this should be enough. Delete lower here as well. One smug trap. Hey, how are you doing, man? Or girl? Not quite sure. If you just joined, I'm currently working on this anatomy study here. It's a skeleton, it's a female study. You rattle my bones. Glad I'm able to do such things. And yeah, so I'm working on this study right now, and I'm currently in the detailing phase. So last time I detailed the hip area, and there are a few more details here, and now I'm trying to get the rest of the skeleton detailed. So how's the weather? We're literally in 80 degrees. So 26.6 degrees Celsius. That's quite warm. We're at like 10 degrees Celsius. So it's fall now. So rattle my bones means that you play music on your skeleton chest if you were a skeleton. I see. Alright, so next step for me is to hide everything that I haven't detailed yet. Maybe I will include the rib cage with this one. So let's see if my computer can handle that or not. but basically I want to hide everything that I detailed already. It's a bit tedious. I wish the the hierarchy, the outliner of Zbrush would be a bit more efficient, but this is still good. So this is everything that I want to detail. Do you also make other 3D models besides cool skeletons? Yes, like I'm a character artist, I'm a freelance character artist at the moment, and I can show you my old, not updated pieces. So these are a few of the projects that I did. Personal projects, there aren't any commercial ones on here. But yeah, I do stylized realistic stuff, printing as well. So mostly for animation and for commercials, but yeah, for my personal projects it's all characters, and I try to combine it with 3D printing. Hey Derek, thanks for joining then. Glad to see you back. Alright, so now I try to combine everything. Let's see how many polygons it will contain. Hopefully not too many. 5.2. Okay, that's enough, and not too much. Why does that guy with the cap remind me of a paperboy for NES? It could be that the artist that I used the concept art from maybe used it as a inspiration. It's based on a concept someone drew, so it's not an original character or anything. Alright, I want to first do a morph target, store morph target, and next I want to go to surface and noise. If you get into animation, you could be creative. Do you mean like the animation industry, or animation as the task itself? I worked on feature animation films and animated short films. So this was my speciality, character-wise. Just animation for yourself, as like making the skeleton dance. I worked as an animator as well for a few months, and I did quite a lot of animation on my personal projects or my diploma projects at university, but it's not something that I get too much out of. It tends to drain energy more than it gives me. So yeah, that's why I think modeling is just my go-to. Do you study demons as well? I mean, I did a few demons. Can show you. Let's see. Like this one, I did a few more demon characters. Brood. You can check out my YouTube channel if you're interested in those. I do have the timeless videos for them, and like the final renders are in the videos as well. So hey Bam, just in time. Yeah, you are. I started like 50 minutes ago, so will probably be here today for a while. So, Jay, I'm doing a big 2D animation in After Effects. I hate it. I was doing 3D cell shade solves, just experimenting, and then somehow got stuck with the guy constructing the full animatic. Yeah, 2D is tough. That takes a lot of stamina to pull that off. One smug trap, yes, but have you done succubus as a model? Not yet. It hasn't been on my radar for now, but maybe it's something that I will do in the future. First I have to apply it to the mesh, obviously. And let's see, morph target. Let's reduce the strength just a little bit. The cool thing about the morph target is that I can increase it in the areas that I want. So there's a succubus on my profile. She's my persona. She's one special girl. I can't imagine. Alright. Let's see. I want to get the tibia and fibula detailed, so maybe I will need more references for those. Probably have too few for them. Tibia. Hopefully I will find something like a scanned model. I think this might be interesting. Abhinav, how are you doing? I'm doing good. How are you? If you study the human body, why not become a doctor? Because there's really a lot to the skeleton and to the muscles and everything that I have no clue about that is crucial for medicine. That's why most of the, or as far as I have seen, a lot of the medical illustrations, anatomical wise, they don't look that nice, but they have everything included when it comes to the little details and important areas for treating a person or making a good diagnosis. And I don't care about these too much for my studies. So. Still working on the skeleton. Yes, I know, it's been a while, but alright, let's see if we can extract a few details here from these references to include them. I think this style of details go more along with the stuff that I already have instead of these. It seems a bit different, so I will take these ones here. Yeah, this one is a female study. DK, hey, thanks for stopping by. Let's see, one smug is now following. Thanks for the follow. Alright, let's get into the detailing. So I'll probably use the damn standard brush a lot. As hello, your GPU name. Like my GPU that I have, it's an RTX 2060. It's not necessary for to have a really good graphics card for Zbrush or for modeling in general. It's more useful when it comes to things like rendering, when you're using a GPU renderer. Let's see, okay. So symmetry is activated. Not that I'm doing half the work. Zbrush can run on most the entry-level GPU. Yeah, it's true. How are you not gonna render your masterpiece? Was it a response to someone? Okay. What I'm looking for is the transition from the different areas of detail. So this is like a bumpy surface with a few holes in there. This is like more smooth, and these edges here are a bit more roughed up, so I want to make sure that I can somehow distinguish between these areas. Same here. Let's check the backside just to make sure. Okay, I think I will have to change my draw size so I can adjust it a bit more precisely, so 0.5 maybe. Oh boy. Edito, yeah, all the best to you, man. Stay safe. Abhinav, it's quite hard to find good reference for the bone. Yeah, it takes a while to build up a reference library. This one developed over the course of doing the study. And if you're interested in that, it's available through my Patreon. So I made that available to my patrons, because they're only showing one side. Yeah, that's true. Sometimes it's hard to find different views, but there are sometimes occasions where you find really good references from different views and angles. So just collect everything that's kind of helpful to you. All right, checking this one here. Hey, 10th step. How are you doing? Let's give it a bit more detail here. Tenth? Did I heard it right? Yeah, isn't it an X? Not quite sure what's how your name is supposed to be pronounced. Or is it 11th step? I mean the Roman numbers? Not quite sure. It's 9. God damn it. Yeah, I always confused the order, I think. Would love to learn about anatomy. Female anatomy is even better because I draw females most of the time, and learning about Zbrush is very nice. Ah, that's awesome. Yeah, this the whole aim for the study, so and it's 9th, okay. I wanted to fresh up my anatomy skills as well. It's not so much about the surface, so the skin and stuff like that. It's more about what's underneath the surface. So this is why I'm doing the skeleton and everything. But yeah, if you have any questions, just let me know. Just thinking about how I'm approaching this the best way. I think I will continue with the small details here first. I tried to do the ribs and the head in skeleton form. Did you encounter some problems doing that? That question. I mean, yeah, if the silhouette and the basic forms are in place, you can do a retopology with zero mesh or manual retopology, and then go the subdivision workflow. But yeah, it's not necessary. It depends on what you want to do. For like pure sculpts, you can do a whole project, for example, just with Dynamesh without going into the subdivs, depending on the level of quality that you want to achieve. For the ribs, maybe there's a tip that might be helpful for you. What I like to do for the ribs is to use a sphere as a base, something like this. Let me rotate it. Then pull it in shape so it's representing the whole rib cage. So let's see, something like that maybe. So this is the top or the bottom part, this is the top part here. Maybe something like this. I mean, you get the idea. And then I subdivided it a few times and just drew out the things that I wanted to have. For example, the sternum. I masked out that area, used extract and accept, and then for the ribs I just drew out the individual ribs. Obviously you would take more time doing the masking, but once that's in place I can just hit extract again, accept, and there I would have my basic ribs that I could then further refine. So this was the approach that I used for the I extracted the sternum as well again, and then you can just hide the base mesh, so to say. And if you have a clean base mesh, like if the general form looks good, then drawing out the individual ribs is fairly easy. They're just stripes on the sphere. And with the extract option here, you can control the thickness, so you will have a really solid base once you did that. So, thanks, Ben. And you can see here with the ribs that they even follow the curvature of the underlying sphere. So this one is angled this way, and the one on the bottom are angled this way. And doing that manually for each rib is like pretty hard. So yeah, sometimes a good workflow enables faster results with higher quality. So yeah, if this helps you, hopefully it will improve your model as well. Alright, let's detail the chin here a little bit more. And I want to do it like a bit roughed up, so you see that I'm not making a straight line, but it has its bumps and curves in there to make it a bit more organic. Bam, do the mask extraction do the same for Zbrush in Blender? I think so. I think I tried it out in Blender. Yeah, I'm not quite sure what the function is called there. Probably mask extraction. And it worked quite similar to what I did in Zbrush, as far as I can remember. Like, is it based on topology also in Zbrush? Because sometimes I get pixelate extraction in Blender. Yes, I think it's the same here in Zbrush as well. When I undo everything, you can see that there are like these wobbles in here. It's very rough on the edges, and it's not. They're not harsh lines because it has a smooth modifier applied to it already by default. You can turn it off to 0. Let's see if that makes a difference. Probably. Yeah, you can see it's based. So it tries to, or it extracts the topology that is masked, and on the outlines it probably adds a few edge loops. Let's see how this looks. Yeah, you can see that it's trying to fill in the topology, but yeah, normally I smooth everything down anyways, so to something like this. Probably I would be more careful to maintain the overall shape, but yeah, it's just a base. It doesn't have to be that perfect right from the extraction itself. So there's this line here that I want to follow. And I will go over it a few times just to build up some form. seems like a candle almost, like the edge of a burned candle. I think it's losing itself here somewhere. Doesn't come back. This interesting detail. I really like this kind of. Yeah, it's almost feels like a candle. Maybe we'll try to keep that in mind, this analogy. Hopefully Zbrush doesn't crash. If it does, then I will probably lose it. Jay, would you consider doing a video on breakdowns, or do you have a source that's a good overview of it, like how to set up renders efficiently for the wires, how to present textures, etc. I think I have to do a bit of research and practice for that myself, because I'm not that good at presenting, to be honest. So I did a breakdown of how I did my clay renderings in Maya with Arnold, but yeah, it's for when did I have it planned? It's on my list that I wanted to do like a general setup of my models for, yeah, like a studio lighting setup and then a wireframe setup as well. But I haven't gotten to I haven't got to it yet. Yeah, hopefully Raphael Grassetti will do a video on that. But yeah, when it comes to presentation, I still have to learn quite a lot for that. Hey V2, thanks for joining again. So I'm trying to get a few harder edges in there just to get the impression of smaller detail. Ninth step, Zbrush is a very big program with very many things what you can do. How long would it need to learn everything? I draw on paper, but I had a fun time with Zbrush, so it would be nice to learn it. You don't have to learn everything in Zbrush. I would say probably no one except maybe Michael Pavlovich knows everything about the tools. Even people like Raphael Grassetti, for example, who is like one of the best ZBrush artists out there, he's using just a few tools. And yeah, what you basically need to know is, let's say, you need to know how the Dynamesh function works. Then you need a few brushes like the clay brush, damn standard brush, move brush, and the smooth brush, as well as the normal standard brush. And then you're good to go. You can complete whole projects with this. You don't need a lot of different tools to get into sculpting. I would say this study here, or let's say, for example, a head. When you want to sculpt a head, you don't need much more than that. And when you have that figured out, then you can, I don't know, play with the subtools more, insert, I don't know, new objects and play around with that. But you don't have to, I don't know, for example, with this custom menu or with this menu here, you don't have to learn all of that, or you don't need to learn the zero measure, or yeah, just a few tools to get started, and then you can already do a lot with it. So. What's the crease brush in Zbrush? I was trying to figure it out the other day, but there's just too many brushes. What's the crease brush? If you mean an equivalent to the crease brush, I think it could be pinch, if that is what you mean. This one pinches everything together and gives you hard lines. But it also pinches your topology. But yeah, if that's what you meant. Jay, but he uses ethers now for sure. You mean for the study right now, or? Not quite sure if it's related to the chat or to what I'm doing right now. Maybe I should pay more attention to the chat. I sent a message above that. Did it go through? Let me see. The last message that I can see is your suggestion for a breakdown video of doing wireframes and renders and stuff like that. Okay, I'm not sure if it's pinch because there's pinch brush in Blender also. Maybe you're right. I mean, other things for like hard edges, for example, that I like to use are the damn standard brush. That's basically really drawing hard edges. Or when it comes to polishing the surfaces around it, it's the edge polish brush, for example. I can get really clean surfaces with this. Or when it's manipulating the edges itself, then you can use the trim dynamics brush, for example. But yeah, I think Blender has its own brushes that are not comparable to any in Zbrush. So, Brian, sorry I just jumped in. I know you from your Demon Prince video. I've got a question. Oh, that's awesome. What would you consider being the best practice or exercise to level up your art? Would it be like the practice you're doing right now? Maybe to get a better answer, is it a daily practice or projects for doing to level up entire workflows and stuff like that? So if it's daily practice, my answer would be different than it would be for big projects. kind of both actually. Like, for example, how would you go practicing heads or eyes? So for daily practices, I would say I really like to practice skulls, especially for characters, when I want to improve my character work. And then taking a concept and trying to recreate it. It doesn't matter if the result will look exactly like the model or the concept that you took, but a lot comes down to mileage, just doing a lot. And the cool thing about the skeleton is that it's more, or it's easier to objectively judge if it's good or not. So yeah, for daily studies, when you're currently working on a project, try to figure out where you get stuck. For example, if it's the eyes, then maybe just focus on the eyes for a while. Just do isolated studies of those, and look at drawing tutorials as well that break down the construction of eyes, and try to recreate a few different eyes as well, just to see what's common among all of those, and be able to do flexible decisions. And would you sculpt eyes daily, pick a video, try to do the same and compare? Yeah, video or images, doesn't really matter. In the end, no single study will improve you dramatically. It's more, especially in the beginning, I think it's way more about doing a lot of studies. So don't spend time detailing everything and put like skin pores and stuff like that. So basically don't do the stuff that I'm doing right now with the details in the beginning, because you will spend a lot of time doing that and not actually learning the features and the basic constructions. So yeah, there aren't like fixed answers or things how to approach that. When it comes to projects, try to do something that you would like to work on that you'd like to work on in general, and don't try to pick something that you think will get you a job, but what motivates you and what you think is exciting to you. You have to find something that gives you energy doing it, and this way it will hopefully propel you to doing more and more things. But this is more on the mindset side, I think. If you make shitty eyes, do some speed sculpts on eyes. Yeah. Do a few drawings as well if you're into that. And just try to be as precise as possible with the questions that you're asking yourself, what you don't understand yet. For example, don't say saying my eyes look bad isn't precise enough. You could say the size of the eyes is always wrong. So try to do a few studies to answer yourself what the size in relation to the rest of the head should be. This is a simple question that is precise enough to get an objective answer to. And other things might be, what are the fat pads around the eyes? What is the curvature in this area of the eye, for example, of the squishy part above the eye? So is it convex or concave? And what does the curvature of the eyelids look like? Where's the highest part of the curve? Where's the lowest part of the curve? and at what angle, for example, are the eye corners to each other. So these questions might not seem obvious in the beginning, but after you do a lot of, or after you do a few studies already, or did a few studies already, you will come up with these questions yourself. So it will become more and more apparent what you need to do next in order to progress. And this is where the mileage comes into play. I think this is the most important thing, to be able to ask the right questions, to have done the studies in the first place and then see what you don't understand yet. Hey Akshay, I'm doing good, how are you? And if you're interested in like the mindset that I have doing these studies, I just, I think yesterday or the day before yesterday, I uploaded a video on my channel that goes more into that. Taking time to ask yourself precise questions is really, really good advice, even in life in general. Yes, definitely. I think I try to embrace that as often as I can. It reduces the amount of things that I have to worry about, and it closes the gap towards taking action. Sometimes I'm just in the mood of, or I'm only able to complain but not really doing something about it because I haven't formulated the problem precisely enough. And then it's just a compilation of things that I don't like, but I don't really know why. So yeah, formulating the question, I think it translates quite well to other things as well. I think someone asked what the music is, right? Ninth step, what is the name of the music? It's by Prisoner. Prisoner guitar lo-fi. I think this is, with this you should be able to find that guy. And I really like his music, it's quite relaxing. I think that right here is what's making me lose a lot of time. I know I need to improve. I keep asking myself how to. You're very welcome. Yeah, I think asking the right questions is a skill in itself. So I try to incorporate that at the moment into my workflow and projects. I write down a list of things. I mean, this is like a piece of scrap paper, but it's a list of things where I try to formulate what the problem is, and this often gives me the answer right away. Or at least it's a really good start to look for references and work on it. So, Inesia, hello, I just want to say I love your sculpts. Your Demon Princess video helped me a lot since I'm learning how to sculpt. Thank you. Oh, that's awesome to hear. Yeah, thanks for saying hi. And yeah, if there are any more questions or things that are unclear for you, just let me know, and maybe I can help you. Awesome, Braille. Sorry. There's so many different kinds of names and pronunciations in the chat sometimes. It's really test of how well I can interpret those. Just have one last, but it's kind of off topic. There is no off topic here. Yeah, sometimes there is, but if there's something that you're interested in. Ines, would you recommend practicing skulls until you get the shapes right before trying to sculpt faces? Not necessarily. I would say definitely study skulls, but you don't have to restrict yourself of not doing faces before perfecting the skull. So do both. Maybe do skull study in the morning as a warm-up, or a proper skull study, and then after that a head sculpt. Yeah, try to let it inform each other. So when you do a skull, for example, you will notice a few things on a face, on a real face, why it's shaped the way it is. And when you do a face study, for example, you will see yeah, how it connects together. So both things. You're really good, so I know you must have worked in the industry, or you still do. I do have some professional experience, yes. I think a few years now, maybe 3 or 4, if I'm not mistaken. So I work mostly in the commercial area, because it's what was available at the town where I live. And I worked on a feature film for half a year. That is, it should be in the cinemas soon, if it's not out already. It's a German production. And bit on 3D printing, bit on commissions. So I love sculpting and I love digital painting too, and I'm quite good, or okay, let's say both, currently in my last 3D class. But I wonder which career I should choose. And if both can coexist, like being able to work in 2D and 3D too, if you know any people like that. I think if you're unsure about it, then it's a bit of soul searching on your side, what you really enjoy doing. Not so much what you like, but what you enjoy doing. And if it's everything together, then try to look for small studios. This increases the chance to work on multiple things and not only in one tight area. And like Jay said, concept artists do combine a lot of 2D and 3D nowadays. So even Zbrush and Blender or Maya or anything like that, SketchUp, a lot of concept artists use SketchUp. But that is a really tough area. So because concept artists, I mean, on a production like Star Wars, for example, there are maybe, I don't know, I have to lie, but probably a dozen concept artists that are defining everything. And there are probably a few concept artists that do additional work, but then it's more about the rendering side and stuff like that. But concept art in itself is a really competitive environment. So I think searching for a small studio that is doing everything in-house is a good idea, just to get experience in all the fields. And trying to maybe focus the work on a specific goals, a specific direction that you would like to go in. Because it's not so much about what other people say or what's in at the moment, or what people would like to see. It's more about what would you like to do for a long period of time. So Inasia, do you think I, a beginner, should practice the underlying anatomy of the face, for example, or should I just jump into trying to create things? Studying anatomy seems so intimidating. Yeah, it can be quite intimidating in the beginning. For me now, it's the most pleasant thing to do, actually, because I'm personally interested in it. But yeah, when it comes to what to try to practice, is I think you should practice the skull when you're interested in characters and faces and stuff like that. But don't let it be a barrier for you not to do the other things as well. If you suddenly feel a rush to, I don't know, sculpt a face, or you see a concept that you would like to recreate it, then do that. And you know, like I said earlier, when you hit a wall, when you think you can't really perform the things that you would like to do, for example, translating the concept or doing the concept justice, then try to figure out exactly where you're getting stuck, and then work on this problem. So this way you can one by one eliminate one barrier after the other, and this will open up more opportunities for you, and more opportunities to see where you still need to learn. And this way you can create your own path, and probably you will come back time after time to the foundations again, to anatomy, and to like the basic fundamental skills that are required. But yeah, try to see them as tools to progress, and not like mandatory things that you have to do in order to please someone else. It's just a tool. Learning the skull, learning the muscles, learning anatomy. It's just an area that you can focus on when you don't know what's holding you back. And learning anatomy is like increasing your tool set, how you can approach problems on your model. So and there are a few people that are really good at anatomy just by observing or working from reference for a long time. I like to understand what's underneath everything. I think it's just my personal curiosity, and it helps a lot to understand references. But there are people out there that can do that just by observing like photographs of people and live drawing lessons and things like that. The final blow. Hey, thanks for being here. Alright, I think I should increase my speed a little. Otherwise I won't finish the skeleton today. Or I will have to stay up for quite a while. And I hope that I don't have to. Inasia, I wish I had that attitude towards anatomy. It feels like a core that I need to do in order to improve at the moment. Yeah, it shouldn't feel that way, but there are times where you yeah, just have to go through it. If you have something that excites you on the other side, so try to redirect the studies towards something that you're excited about if you currently feel unmotivated. For example, if you have a concept or a project that you would like to realize, then try to make a list of things that you think would help you to make it easier. So, for example, if you have a demon face, then skulls could be a thing to study, or horns from goats, or the muscles underneath, or scales from reptiles. And this way it can give these boring or seemingly boring studies a purpose, and maybe it's then more fun. It's just a matter of perspective sometimes. Lorden, you always use reference. Good evening. Good evening to you as well. For studies, I try to use more reference. I like to do sculpts from memory as well. But right now, I'm in a phase where I think I benefit the most when I actually learn something from references. So I try to expand the stuff that I know, and just by using my memory, I don't expand on it. So right now I'm using references a lot, but a lot of the videos I did on YouTube, for example, they're from memory. So, and my aim for basically is to learn as much as possible from references, so that I can be more freely, or can sculpt more from memory in the future. Bam, I tried working from just reference. It didn't go well. It takes a bit. Maybe sometimes there needs to be a back and forth between working from memory and working from reference, because it comes back down to the asking questions, I think. So sometimes when you're just working from reference, then you don't develop a sense of what's actually wrong. It feels like so, or you get tricked into the state where you think, now I know how it works. But a good practice that I heard and that I tried myself, which is really good, is to do something from reference and then do it from memory and see how much you actually remember, and then go back and forth and do it multiple times. I did that with skulls a lot, and this exercise really shows you what you don't know yet, which is really interesting. So maybe it's worth giving that a try. NS, when would you use Sculptris Pro, if at all? I really like to use Dynamesh. I don't use Sculptris Pro too much, because it tends to be unstable, especially when it's when the poly count increases. So I would say, if at all, then in the phase where you're trying to figure out the large silhouette and, I don't know, dragging out appendages and arms and doing quick turnarounds. But then after a while, I would say go to Dynamesh. It's much more stable and not so performance heavy. The final blow. Can I suggest something? Sure. Ragif, thank you so much for your effort. You're very welcome. And Lorden, you're welcome as well. Astrogelus, hey Finn, just received my 3D printer and I wonder, is there anything I have to do before export STL file for printing, like welding everything? Dynamesh would mess everything, I guess. Cheers. Actually, for a lot of my models, I use Dynamesh as the last step, or second to last step before decimating, because it ensures that the mesh is watertight, that there are no holes in there. So yeah, I think this is the only thing that you have to take into consideration or make sure that it's right, is that there are no holes in the mesh and that the poly count isn't too high. So sometimes I go into Z plugin and use the decimation master to reduce the number of polygons. And when I did a Dynamesh before that, I know that it's closed, that the mesh is watertight, and then I used the decimation master to make it exportable, that the mesh isn't too heavy. Good night, Akshay. The final blow, can you make a Discord community? Just like Bam said, yes. And Bam, I think... Yeah, yeah, the link is in the description below, so... and there are already a few people in there, and it's growing, which is really cool to see. So if you have more questions or want to have feedback on your stuff, just post it in the... or join the Discord and post it there. There are a few people there giving feedback. I give feedback when I can as well. So, yeah. Yeah, Jay, it's really cool to see. Especially in the pets channel. Astratalus and hard surface and pores you see are the last part of the closing mesh with Dynamesh and then export it. Okay, now I know everything. Yeah, if you want to detail it, then it probably makes sense to do like the Dynamesh beforehand. And then, or a zero mesher, that can be done as well. Just so that there are no holes in the mesh in the end. That is the most important thing. Alright. I think I will do another pass of the surface details next. Or when I'm done with the detailing, like the secondary details and all of that. Because I lost a few things here. Alright, these details will never be seen. But they're fun to do. Alright, let's go to this one here. And hopefully I can do a proper print of all of this. It would be really cool to have this in a bigger scale than my normal miniatures. So bigger than this, hopefully. I think I have to cut it into a lot of different pieces to be able to print it. Finn, will you stream the preparing process for printing for this thread? Yes, I tried to do that as well. I hope that it doesn't take too long for this project to finish, but it might take a month or two before I can call this one done with the pace that I'm going right now and the detail level. So the final blow, when did you learn to sculpt? I started sculpting 10 years ago now, so I was still in high school, and yeah, I stumbled over it was Google SketchUp because it was free, and then I quickly moved to Zbrush after that, and I've been sculpting ever since. Yeah, it's crazy how much time has passed already. Wow. Inazia, what is your favorite brush? It used to be the clay buildup brush. I used that for a long time, but if for a strange or for a strange reason, after Rafael Grassetti posted the video of him using the clay brush, I tried it out a few times and I've never used the clay buildup brush after that. So I would say clay. The clay brush is my favorite one. After that, I mean, what would I be able to do without the move brush? But these are the standard ones. So I think the clay brush is really my favorite, and then damn standard. These two, I would say. Yeah, give it a try. It takes a little bit to get a handle of it, but after a while it becomes really intuitive. So it's all a matter of practice. Final blow. What's the difference between clay buildup and the one that Ref mentioned? The basic, or the most, or the biggest difference I would say is the clay buildup brush. It actually builds up continuously. So I'm still doing a single stroke right now. So and this is building up the form, and you can see by default it has a square alpha to it. So it has kind of a rough texture. And the clay brush doesn't have any alpha and it's much smoother, as you can see. And it doesn't build up form the more I draw over the same area. So I think this is the biggest difference between these two. In principle, they're behaving quite similarly. But yeah. This is like the big difference between these two. And it feels like, or at least for me, that I have much more control over the surface when I'm using the normal clay brush. And I don't spend so much time on smoothing everything out because I don't have a texture coming with the brush strokes. If you're sculpting a male torso, what brush would you use? I would still use the clay brush. So let's see, for this one, for example, if I sculpt out the arms here, just quickly, something like this, and I want to add the muscles for this. I can just draw it out a few times. The clay brush is more, you have to do more strokes, but it's still faster, for me at least. So and yeah, this way I could build up the muscles as I need to. So it's for me it's a fairly quick brush. And then I can go around the edges with the damp standard brush, for example, and refine things a little bit more. Give it a few details here and there, just like this one here. And yeah, so this is how I would approach the muscles then. Just small strokes one after the other. No. So it still builds up. I tried to experiment on that after stream. Yeah, it still builds up, but just to the degree that your strength is set to. So the Z intensity. So you see it adds volume, but just to a certain level, and then it stops. So if I would increase the Z intensity to 100, it builds up a bit more volume. But yeah. Thanks, Slick. You should check out Raphael Grassetti's 10-minute torso video. Like, that's so awesome. Raphael Grassetti, 10-minute torso. Look that up on YouTube. It's real time. and he's just so damn fast. It's not even funny anymore. Ben, then you should definitely check out his video. Gave me a bit of inspiration as well for my own stuff, so might be interesting for you as well. It's really worth checking out. Let me check. I think I should be able to find quickly. Raffle Grassetti. Posted it like 4 months ago. So, come on. This should be the link to it. And it doesn't really explain too much what exactly he's doing. He's more talking about his approach to things. But still seeing him doing it is really interesting. Hope you enjoyed Inertia. It's awesome to watch. This basically inspired me to, or motivated me to give the clay brush another chance. Bam, it's the first thing that showed up for me. I'll watch it after the stream. Awesome. Let me know what you think of it. I think it should be translatable to Blender. Yeah. And he's using very simple brushes, so he's basically using the clay brush, the slash brush or dim standard brush, one of these two, move brush and smooth, and that's more or less everything that he needs or that he uses. And the mesh extraction, but that's not that necessary. So masking and then extracting from there. let's give a bit of detail here on the foot. And yeah, well, that's really impressive, having so much practice and knowledge to be able to speedrun it almost. Yeah, that's true. It definitely feels more like a speedrun to me as well. Alright, this one seems to be... Then Play Build-Up is my favorite brush as of the moment. But it's called slightly different Blender, and you mentioned you'll end up with a messier result. Yeah, maybe you can find ways to make it smoother somehow. I think there are a few settings in Blender that offer that. I found that the auto smooth turn completely off gave more predictable results, but it's preference, I think, as well. Slay, John Carter, Thug, Sculpt Part 5. This is my first inspiration, then I started sculpting after a few months, I believe. Oh, that's awesome, man, that's a long time ago. Funny story is on one of the streams, someone joined that actually worked on the actual John Carter movie, like 11 years ago, or whenever it came out. That was really fun, really fun coincidence. Fine Below, have you been sculpting on Blender before? I did a stream where I tried out Blender for the first time, and then I did a project actually as well. Let me see, do I have the image for this? Desktop. Ah yes, there it is. This sculpt I did in Blender as well. This was a fun little miniature that I sculpted with a few suggestions from the chat. So you can do characters in Blender, that's no problem. It's just the poly count is still a little bit restricted. So you hit the barriers fairly quickly. Yeah, it's Barry. He is called Barry. I wonder what would be your reaction if Ref joins the stream. I don't know. I can't imagine myself staying calm. So Bam, did you print it? Yes, actually I did. Let me get it quickly. So let me see. So you probably won't be able to see anything, but let's try. So I did print the ogre that I did. Wait a minute, maybe I can reduce the brightness a bit. So this was the ogre that I printed, and it has little Barry on top. So you can see his small butt cheeks there. And I sculpted or printed the small one. The ears are breaking off fairly easy, so maybe I have to print them again or remodel them. But yeah, as you can see, my camera is pretty shitty, so maybe you can see it. But yeah, it was quite fun. I really liked doing both of them. Yeah, they're best friends. Yeah, they're quite cute together. So it's a miniature that I really like to look at, because they have some kind of a dynamic going on. Thanks, Ben. The ogre, I divided it into the torso. Then I have both hands separately and the legs. So even with Barry on top, it's still 4 pieces. And I separated it along, for example, the bandages on his arm and the bracelet on his other arm. And this way I was able to get clean cuts. And for the hands, they're not really visible where I glued them together. But the torso and the leg section, there's still a slight gap there because of the shrinkage of the material. But other than that, it still fits really good. So thinking about making them available at a certain point. Not quite sure when though. One thing that I would really like to be able to do is to provide some miniatures for Critical Role at some point. Not quite sure if that will ever happen, but that would be awesome. Paint them. At one point I will do that. Right now I don't have the... what would I call it? First, I don't have the paints to do it. And there's so much stuff that I want to get to that my priorities are right now not on painting. I hope I will get back to it at a certain point. But I feel like I have to put more time and effort right now into sculpting and making models. So Pio Povo 28. Dang, bro, that's so cool. Thanks a lot. If you just joined, let me show you the rest of the study. So this is the entire study. So the skeleton, and I detailed the hip area last week. So I completed this, and I also do have the rest of the muscles. So, and they're up for details as well. So still a lot to do. In Asia, damn, this is so detailed. Yeah, I haven't detailed something like this before, so it's quite exciting to see everything come together. Thanks, Final Blow. So this is the front section. Prince is the one for me. Yeah, right now it's for me as well. Sir, when will you do mask with cavity? I want to see them again. Once I'm done with the detailing, I will do the paint job after that, after I applied the Z plugin master. Not the Z plugin. What did I say? The transpose master. When I transfer that back to the individual objects, then I can do the cavity masking. Let's give this here a bit of thickness, as well as here. Oh, you printed the Nosferatu as well. Just open instant, the first thing that came out. Yeah, it's an older sculpt from last year, and it's one of my biggest prints right now. So. When it comes to the scale of the head, so this is like the proper print, and it actually slightly shows the veins on the eyeball, which is crazy. So I was really happy how it turned out, and yeah, hope to get more printed in the future. Pio Povo, I'm still a beginner in Zbrush. Yeah, all the best with your practice then. I want to buy a pen tablet, but I'm a... Then maybe look up Huon. Huon, they offer fairly cheap tablets, much cheaper than Wacom, for example. So maybe they have something in their shop that is more in your budget. So, Inasia, do you have your own 3D printer? Yes, I do. I do have two, actually. One is currently at a friend's place, but I have an Elegoo Mars and a Nova 3D. Bene 4, it's called. And they're both pretty good. But I think in the future I will try to get my hands on a 4K monochrome printer. They're just way faster and way more detailed. So thanks, man. Appreciate it. Nausea, I want to get a 3D printer too. It would be so cool to make a collection of my sculpts. It's an awesome feeling. I can tell you that. So, if you're into 3D and you're sculpting yourself, then having a 3D printer, it just opens up another... How do I say that? Another perspective, another appreciation. It's just really cool to see that. after the female study the next project will be? Good question. I'm currently working on one that I'm recording separately. It will be a realistic portraiture together with the rest of the body. But after that, not quite sure what I will do for the stream next, or if I will take a break to study that I can then apply to a project afterwards. Not quite sure what will come next. I'm so ready for that next project. Do you have a subject in mind already for that portrait? Yes, I do. Not quite sure if I should. Maybe I will give you a sneak peek once I'm done with the Transpose Master thing here. Or are you gonna find out? Yeah, not quite sure. Maybe I will post some pictures once I feel it's presentable on the Discord channel. Teasers. Huh. What can I give as a hint? Well, it is a famous person. Quite inspiring. For me at least. And it's based on a meme. So I saw a meme that I find so stupid that I thought, why not put a lot of time into doing my own spin on it. So yeah, I know it was a very precise answer. Is it Salt Bay likeness? Nope, I don't think so. Why can't I get a hint? Somebody in the chat tell me. What could be another hint? I don't want to give it away yet. It's just too much fun. He is not originally from America. There's another hint. And it's a he. It's a he, not a she. What's another hint? He is the cat sitting at the table meme. Nope. It was I don't know if the meme is even known at all. It's super nerdy. But another hint would be He's a nerd. Quite a big one, I think. Anatole, isn't the left part of the bone too low? You mean this one? Yeah, maybe a little. We can push that up a bit higher. That should be... that should be more in the proper place. Alright, I think it's detailed enough for the details that will come later. Inasia, goddamn. Yeah, you're right. It will be him. Good job, good job. Yeah. Yeah, you figured it out, Inasia. Good job, really good job. I don't watch memes a lot, so I have no clue about them. I see. Yeah, he's not really a meme himself, or he does have a few memes himself, but he's a lot into memes. Yeah, you won first prize in Asia. So I can give you a sneak peek once I'm done with this. Here. Anatole, where are you from? I'm from Germany. So now to the foot. Hopefully I can get through the details quicker on this one. So here. Thanks, Bruno. Hey, glad you made it. Elon Musk. Yeah, I could do that. Him as well. Rick and Morty is awesome. No worries, Nazi. I would have probably posted it on the Discord anyways, and it's not a big secret. Bruno, hyperrealistic 3D portraits are one of the most difficult stuff to do. Yeah, it's quite challenging, especially when you put it in motion with animation and skin pores and muscle stuff. And have any of you seen Joe Pera talks with you? No, I don't know about that. Is it like a podcaster or something like that? Joe Pera. No, I haven't heard of him. Adult Swim, oh, I see. So you can get it on HBO Max. T1's not sure when. I think we don't have HBO in Germany, if I'm not mistaken. Then it should be on something, on another streaming platform. Bam, sorry. Sorry for the long wait. Just want to get through everything here. I see. Anatoly, how do you overcome artistic challenges that you think surpass your capabilities? Asking because I'm struggling with this right now. It builds a bit on what I said earlier. I think the biggest hurdle is to figure out what you struggle with, and be as precise as possible about the question. When you feel like you hit a wall and you can't progress anymore, try to pinpoint exactly what you don't understand about the challenge that you're facing. For example, if you get stuck sculpting the face and you sculpt all of the time around the eye and try to figure it out, but it doesn't really work, then try to isolate that area and do like a few studies of eyes or a few studies of the mouth or something like that, just to break down the barrier that is in front of you. And if it's proportions, for example, if you feel like your head is always too big or the arms are too long or something like that, try to look for drawing tutorials, for example, on this, and do a few studies just to answer your question. And hopefully it will open up or free the way for you to progress a little bit before you will stumble upon the next question that you have. And yeah, try to be exact as you can formulating the question, not in the generalization of I don't know how hands work or how the face works, but in the case of the hand, for example, you could say, what is the relation of the size of the palm to the length of the fingers? Or what does the arc of the knuckles, how they are arranged, look like? Or where do the tendons go on the back side of the hand? And by being able to try to break down the questions so much that you could answer them in a single sentence. So, for example, where do these tendons go? You could say the tendons attach to the middle of the backside of the wrist. Or what is the relation to the palm size to the finger length? You could say the palm size is the same as the length of the middle finger. And by being able to break that down to these simple questions, you will be able to objectively answer that for you. And there isn't any gap between what you're struggling with and what action you can take next. So that would be my answer for that. Jay, it's just a simple man that talks you through his life. There are a few episodes on Adult Swim site. Interesting. So more of a biography. Jay, you there? Whenever I open my save file, my history is not showing in Zbrush. What to do? Probably you have to, when you go to File, first you have to save with File. Z-tool saving here doesn't work. You have to go to File and then make sure that the undo history is enabled. It will make your file sizes fairly big, but this will save the undo history. Anatoly, great way to look at things. I'm actually doing a painting and just cannot for the life of me figure out the composition. So maybe for example, for doing the composition, maybe it's helpful to do a few simple sketches that show you just variations of what you want to do, and can be like 10 seconds sketches, and maybe they will involve a happy accident and you will see things that you didn't see before, or that you were afraid of trying out because it was too much effort to do. So yeah, all the best with your painting. Not really a biography, just a guy whose eyes look like he's 15, but his mannerism make him seem like he's 70. Oh, interesting. Sounds like an interesting story. Takes 30 seconds to load my scout project and I'm not 50% finished. Then probably you have too many undo steps and the file size got too large, so maybe try to save a file without the undo history, and yeah, don't worry about the undo history too much. Hey Akira! Get another 50 minutes, awesome. Yeah, I still have to do quite a lot on the skeleton, so today I will stream a bit longer. Already done a few thumbnail sketches and thought I had found the right one, but couldn't make it work, but I'll find a way. And sometimes there's a back and forth, so I think now you're more informed of the direction that you want to go in, and maybe doing a few more sketches might be helpful as well. Jay, like the second episode is about him going to his local diner for breakfast. The humor is just in the dry and funny. Oh, cool. Yeah, I might check it out if I find a way to that show. Not quite sure who's offering that here in Germany. In Asia, I'm just scared I need to undo something and I can't. Yeah, in the beginning I had that quite a lot as well. I used to save all the undos, but in the end you can redo everything. I mean, you got there in the first place, and you will probably get there a second time as well, maybe even better. So do you know the concept artist illustrator Ben Simonsen? Nope, I haven't heard of him. Alright, I think I noticed something that I wasn't aware of before. There's one digit missing. So my toes currently only have two joints. So I think I have to add that later. Oh boy. Good music makes a lot of difference, so. I hope I find some time to check it out. Currently not watching too many things except random YouTube videos. And Critical Role. Critical Role is awesome. I try to read more currently. Hopefully I can get more to that. Do I have another reference? This one is much better. Thanks, Anatoly, and yeah, thanks for joining. Hope to see you next time. And yeah, all the best with your painting. Hopefully, it turns out the way you like, or you would want it to turn out. Now it comes back to me that I spent so little time working out the forms here on the foot, and I seriously forgot like the last digits. It's quite embarrassing. I will be live next Sunday, same time as today. So if you wanna come by, this is when I will stream. In Asia, that's true. Yeah, sometimes these things get noticed so late, even in a professional production. So this is why having people looking at your stuff from a fresh perspective is so valuable sometimes. Currently trying to break up the surface a little, adding a few irregularities. Are you using pure ref? Yes, I do. So this is what you can see here. Someone not satisfied with the detailing so far. I think I have to have some sharper details just to sell the scale. In that moment when you forget it's alive and you pause the video when you get up. The good thing is that you get the recordings. So I sometimes pause on live videos as well. I don't know. In the end, it's still a video. Except you want to interact, then it might be a bit hindering. Alright. I think I'll just go over it with the morph brush a little bit and then just give a few details here. But the feet will definitely not be the main focus of the study, so Alright, I think enough for these bones. A few more here. Can't help it. All right. All right, that doesn't look too bad. And I still have toasted. Yeah, I do that after I'm done with the detailing pass here, because this is currently T-pose transpose master model, and if I change the topology here, then I can't send it back to the original models. So. Morph brush. Just want to add a few more details here. I mean, the underside of the toe bones. I don't think I should spend too much time on those. Alright, I think that's good enough. Let's jump to the ribcage. Thanks, Himalaya. If you just joined, I'm currently working on this study here. And I'm finishing with the detailing of the last bones. And this is... I really like how this area turned out. I think I had luck with the reference that I found. But yeah, try to get the rest of the study currently to that level. Thanks, Himalaya. Nausea, what can you use the morph brush for? I haven't tried it. The morph brush is really cool, actually. So let me use it for this one here. First you have to store a morph target, otherwise the morph brush doesn't work. And then whatever changes you make, let's say I want to do this for whatever reason. And then I sculpt a bit more here and there, and like adding stuff, and I can use the morph brush to erase what I have sculpted. So it's like a layer that you save and you can go back to. The thing is, you must not change your topology, otherwise you will lose your morph target. And the cool thing about the details is that I can, let's spray a few details on this. Maybe something like this. Super duper skin details. And I can either blend them away without smoothing, it's just erasing it. Smoothing would be something like this, where the details get washed out. But with the morph brush, it's actually just reducing. And I can go the other way around by holding down Alt. And I can then increase the details and enhance the difference from the original mesh. And this way it's really useful for doing things like this here. For example, I do have the slight noise in the morph target. So before it was clean, and then I stored a morph target, and now I can enhance the noise here in areas where I want it to be. This can give for really nice effects. So it's a useful tool to know. Hey, Final Blower, thanks for being back. Alright, normal dots, alpha off. Yeah, it's a process, so don't worry too much about all the different tools. The way I learned all these tools was doing everything manually many times before finding tools that gave me a few shortcuts or that did it for me. And I'm glad that I learned it this way, because this way I'm able to, I know what these tools are doing and why I'm using them. And so this makes me control the tool and not so much the tool me, or the tool control me. Because I know how I would do it, or how I could achieve it manually. But yeah, it's good to know these shortcuts as well. this is good enough. There aren't that many details on the rib cage, it seems. On the ribs themselves. Probably like a small ridge or something. Bam, I just remembered. I actually want to ask this question kind of to what you're doing right now, but how will you prevent alpha brushes looking like alpha brushes or repetitive, in other words? Because I'm seeing a lot of works on the internet that it's like that. They look like a sculpt with alphas on its surface rather than a highly detailed sculpture. Most of the time when I see that is that they're lacking the secondary forms. So this right now, this is an alpha, obviously, or you can see that it's just surface noise. What's missing is like these small details that are added by hand or that break up these surfaces, and this is what's called secondary form. And the small details like the noise, this is the tertiary form. And most of the time what I see is they sculpted the rough forms and it's still not that refined, but like the primary shapes, they're more or less in place, but most of the time they still need some work, and then they just put alphas on top of it without doing the secondary forms. And this way there's a there's a transition from large forms into small details. And if you focus only on the large forms and they're not that precise yet, and then you jump into the details, then there's it breaks with the perception. So, and look at for example, ancient sculptures, Michelangelo or other sculptors. They don't have any skin pores or details on them, only primary and secondary shapes, and they look so organic and natural and lively, you know what I mean. So it shows that you don't need the details that much. It's the icing on the cake, but it is what a lot of people feel like is shows quality, but the details don't really show quality. It's the primary shapes and the secondary shapes. If you get clean stuff done with this, then you're good to go to do that as a job. You don't need to or like doing the skin pores is just a small step after that in comparison to what came before. Yeah, I mean, this is what most of the time feels impressive because there's a lot going on and it feels complex, and we tend to see that as equal to, yeah, that the quality is, or the details is what makes the quality. But most of the time it's what comes before the details that is defining the quality of a piece. I think I could have done a better job at the ribs with the connecting point here, but I think I'll skip it. It's probably hidden by the rest of the spine anyways, and then I don't want to. I'm just not motivated for that right now. Maybe for my next study then. I think I'm having a super slow internet right now. I'm sorry it keeps on buffering even 140. Let me see. On my side it seems like I have a good connection, so hopefully it's stable. Would be a bummer if it would disconnect like when I started doing the sculpts or the streams. Thanks for the feedback, Inasia. Yeah, when things like these happen, sometimes it's on my side, sometimes it's on the viewer's side. So I appreciate all the feedback when there is like lags occurring or when it's buffering. So. Perfect. Alright, I think this is okay as it is right now. What I do now is I delete the morph target and do a new one because I want to recast the surface noise. Apply to mesh, and then I can lessen the effect just a little bit because I want to go around the edges to bring out that detail again, to roughen up a few areas. I found that it is a fairly quick way to get nice details. And the same with the bottom part here. And I think I'm at the edge here of the secondary forms missing, so I could spend more time actually sculpting the secondary forms here, and it would improve the quality. But right now I want to move on to other things. And I think this is detailed enough already. Don't have to be hiding from it anymore. Yeah, the music is quite relaxing. I really like it. Maybe it's too relaxing at certain points. Because it lulls you in, but I kind of like it. I can shut it off, and it's still in the background of on the back of my mind while I'm sculpting, so it's not too distracting, and I really like that. Puts me in some kind of a mood that kind of lets me forget time a little bit. And this way I can just keep sculpting and sculpting. And in Asia, sure. Don't hold back on questions. If things are sometimes too difficult to answer or take too long, then I will say it, but other than that, feel free. Most of the time I can quickly show some stuff. Thanks, Akira. Hope you have a good time with the Zoom meetings. Good day to you as well. And as in my sculpt project, I have merged the arms and hand and fingers, which I used curved tube for, but the fingers looked horrible, so I made cylinder subtool to make each finger looks much better. Now my problem is that I can't figure out how to delete the old fingers from the hand without ruining it. I tried following a tutorial, but then it doesn't cut smoothly. Sorry for the long message. No problem. Let's see, let's try to recreate that. I will make a few fingers sticking out of this side here. Let's increase the resolution. This is my test dummy today. Come on. Saving. Alright, so increasing the resolution. Dynamesh, nope. Alright, so let's draw out a few fingers just to recreate what you had there. So let's assume that these were too close together, that while using Dynamesh they kind of fuse together. So especially if we increase the thickness in Dynamesh, then probably something like this happened. And separating them into a separate subtool is a good idea. So what you could do is, let's do this here again. It was probably at 300 something. So let's see. Let's duplicate that just so I have it similar to you. I will make it a separate subtool. Delete hidden and Dynamesh again, so it's a closed hole here. Something like that. So maybe you have them a bit different, but now you want to get rid of these fingers, is that right? Without losing too much around it. Have you, is your topology important to you? Because if not, then you could use the trim curve brush. By holding down the Control and Shift, you get to the brush menu here that shows you all the select options, slice and clip brushes, and there's the curve trim brush. And with this one you can cut away all the fingers, and it will close the hole that is left behind. And then you can just Dynamesh it again, something like that, and then move it in place so that it's matching the fingers again. I used the trim curve brush, and the trim brush is slicing away everything and deleting everything on the black side, on the side where the shadow is, and it will fill in the gap by doing close holes, if I'm not mistaken. Another way that you could do is, if the mesh is, if you can't cut it in one piece, then you can mask it out, the area that you want to have, something like this, getting close to the edges, trying to make a clean mask, something like this, for example. And then by clicking Control W, you make it into a new polygroup. Hold down Control Shift, click on the model once and again to hide it, and then I go to Geometry, Modify, and Delete Hidden. This way it's actually deleted, and then you just have to do close holes, and this way you will have basically the same result as with the trim curve brush, but in a more controlled manner, so you're not dependent, or you don't depend on having a clear view of the model to make one single smooth cut. So Mathieu, your knowledge of 3D anatomy must help when drawing. Definitely. And vice versa. So by practicing drawing, I learned a lot when it comes to anatomy by drawing, and this informed my sculpting. So it's a lot of 2D and 3D, they benefit each other quite a lot. Inazi, you're very welcome. glad it's helpful. So I wanted to increase the details here at the edges where they connect to the, it seems like cartilage that they're the different section of the rib cage. I think what I will do in the future, I'm not quite sure when, is, and I'm not quite sure if I will stream it only on Twitch, because it's more of a casual thing, a bit disconnected from the channel on YouTube, is my drawing practices. I want to take a month or so to study the fundamentals in drawing, because I feel like this will allow me to progress faster in 3D as well. So this is coming, not quite sure when, but probably in a few weeks I want to start that. And then I can talk a little bit about how it translates to 3D as well. But yeah, I really want to get more into drawing. Mainly because I want to design better. I want to be able to design my own characters, creatures, whatever. Being able to sketch out characters by a given, or based on a given description. This is like my goal for the practice sessions that I'm planning. So I want to make a before and after, like before I start with the practices, I want to try to come up with a description of a character and then do an illustration of that, and then compare my abilities to that after the practice session. How much or how better I am. Yeah, just how I improved. I think I'm getting tired, so my words are kind of sluggish. let's see one thing. If the color that I'm doing here translates to the rest of the model once I applied it. So let's do that here and hit T-pose master. Hopefully that works. Alright, that will take a while. Oh no. I have to hide everything again. Otherwise it will check for every object. And that will take years. Not years, but quite a long time. So that should be sufficient. T-pose to sub T. Alright, I think it's been successful. And it didn't translate the, what do you call it? The polypaint. And the sternum needs some details as well. So this is, I will do that here by hand. the surface noise. First the morph target, then the surface. Morph target, noise. Scale to something like 6. Just want to make it consistent with the rest. And apply. Can lower the overall strength. And then with the morph brush I can bring out certain areas. Alright, time for painting. So, RGB turned on. And let's start with the sternum actually. So, let's save the reference file and close it because I don't need it anymore. And let's go to masking. So mask per cavity, smooth, or mask per cavity, inverse the mask and hide it. It's coming together so nicely. Thanks. Yeah, I really enjoy the results so far. It's definitely one of the most detailed sculpts that I ever did. Let's check the flat color. This should be in the lightbox menu. I think they do have a where was it? Isn't it here somewhere? They do have an anatomy thing there. So I'm not quite sure where it was. Mannequin? No, not mannequin. This one is better. Thanks. I think they have it somewhere. maybe in the Z tool. I think they have some tools there, demo tools, and they have an echorche model there by Ryan Kingsland, if I'm not mistaken. He's a great artist. Aspect cavity, inverse. I want to get some coloring here, the connection points. Just to make them pop more. And here I can do them as well. Memento Mori in this time, nice bounce, thanks. What do you usually do during the day? Right now I'm not doing that much, to be honest. I tried to learn a little bit of piano. Otherwise reading, taking walks. Started doing more sport again, like fitness. Signed up to a gym finally again. So hopefully this will give me a bit more momentum. So Ryan is great. I learned most of my current knowledge just by watching his live recordings. Yeah, when I started out, he was a huge help for me as well, with his tutorials on faces and certain features, and the approach to learning anatomy and why it's so important to know or to learn. So really enjoyed his videos. It feels like he became more quiet over the years, so I'm not quite sure what he's up to at the moment. This is done. Inazi, I have to go, but it was really nice hanging out. We'll definitely come another time. That's awesome. Glad to hear that. Hope you have a nice day, and thanks for joining. Hope to see you next time as well. PVL was so music and nice, so creating, and are you here for others? So recreating and are you here for others? Not quite sure if I understand the question. If you could rephrase it. You're very welcome, Inazia. That's why I do these streams. So thanks for asking the questions, by the way. Bye, Nasia. Bye, Nasia, sorry. Starting to do more and more mistakes. It's coming together, guys. Mask cavity, invoice mask. Why is the kneecap levitated? What's the purpose of that? It's actually just connected with the muscles and tendons of the knee. Let me see. Anatomy sheet. Let me get some reference for that. Not that I'm suddenly talking nonsense. Leg, butt muscles. Where is it? Leg muscles. Where's a good reference for that? Maybe this one. No, not too good. You can see here it's not really connected to any bone. It's more probably it slides between this, so maybe it shouldn't levitate that far. Yeah, probably it's sliding above that groove there, but it's basically connected to the muscles on the quadriceps, if I'm not mistaken, and these are holding them, the patella in place, so it's not that it's stuck in a joint, and you can wiggle it around more or less freely, but it can hurt. So yeah, probably it shouldn't levitate that much. That's right. Maybe we'll just draw something here to close the gap. I don't want to change it now because there's there are a few muscles attached there. Or fuck it. Let's push it a bit more in place. It's probably more like this. Oop. No, it should be better. I used to do that as a kid quite a lot as well. Until it started to hurt. I think I did it too much. Seems like it, yeah. Getting old. So, color, fill object. I still have to add the last digit. Shouldn't forget that. I just spent too much time on this study to miss out on a few important bones. Will you render the skeleton this stream? Nope, I won't. I think I will finish with the details, so I will work a little bit on the upper arm as well. I saw that the detail level wasn't as high as in the other bones, and then I will call it a day. I'm 3.5 hours in now, so a little bit longer, and then I'm good to go to bed. So color, fill object, and mask the cavity, inverse, and a bit of cavity masking here. Yeah, a little bit. I mean, I wish I could. It's probably a good sign that I should start the streams a bit earlier and not so late, so I can keep on doing it for longer. But maybe in the future. Alright, so now what I want to do is reconstruct a few of those. Just so I'm able to make my PC a bit more responsive. If everything is on their highest subdivision level, then it starts to be fairly slow after a while. So, Carl, when did you get into sculpting? 10 years ago, close to 11 years now. No, when it comes to sculpting, around 10 years ago. I mean, 3-4 hours a day isn't bad at all, just the right length, I would say. Yeah, and I mean, I do more sculpting during the day as well, so the stream is just always an addition to that. In this way I wanted to put it on the evenings so I don't neglect everything that I still have to do, like freelance wise and living a life like stuff, you know. Duplicate, then auto groups, delete hidden, delete hidden, reconstruct subdivision level, and boom. So now I can move these to the top. Make small little joints. Shouldn't say that to the police, but in the right context it's cool. I'm surprised you aren't getting burned out after a long day of work. Maybe I have to think about why that is. I think having something that you're working towards is always good to have. I do have my goals, and they keep me kind of motivated to keep on sculpting and stuff like that. But yeah, I think could have been burned out already. Not quite sure what the reason for that is. I kind of wish that I have the same motivation as yours. I mean, I can say that I didn't have the stamina back then when I started out, and I still think that I lack a lot of discipline and focus. But I think in comparison to how I approached things in the past, I improved a little bit. But I would say, as a lot of things are, it's a matter of practice. And you get better at it the more you do it. So I think to find that out and to improve that, you have to push yourself sometimes to extremes that you don't enjoy in the moment too much, but that push you, or that show you where your limits are and where you might have to improve on. So I did that quite a lot, like pushing myself a lot. And so you're saying it's a learning process for you? It's definitely a learning process, yeah. For me, at least. I think there might be people that have it just ingrained in them to have a really good work ethic right from the start and be focused and motivated, and can shut everything out from that might distract them. But not for me. I struggle with that still quite a lot. So this is actually an area where I want to consciously improve in. The focus and being able to sit down and just work for a certain period of time. I just get too distracted when I'm doing stuff on my own, and it's really hard to keep at it. This is why I really like these streams, for example. I can sit down, I can shut away everything or shut off everything that might distract me, because I'm live, I'm sculpting, I'm there for doing work and for chatting with you and all of that. And this somehow puts me in a state of focus that I enjoy quite a lot. And I would really like to be able to transfer that to when I'm working on my own. But so far I haven't been able to get there yet. But I think I'm better off than in the past, and this is the most important thing. That hurt. Alright, let's see how much work I lost. God damn it. Ouch. Let's see. Not too much. Not too much work wasted. Slay Shadow. Zbrush just closed without any warning. So yeah, it seemed like a minor crash. Yeah, it crashed. Alright, it seems like for the toe, for the big toe, there is one bone missing. These small details always surprise me. Yeah, sometimes it crashes. I'm not quite sure what the cause for these is. It's not like it freezes and then it crashes, or that there's a fatal error or something like that. It's just suddenly it's gone. So that is quite the bummer, and doesn't do any saving. And this is quite annoying. Sure, save. Yeah, I'm saving every 20 minutes. I do it's an autosave that is turned on. So this is why I was able to recover this one here. Without the autosave, I would definitely save more often manually. Let's see, I have to check if the reference is correct, but there are only 2 bones. Yeah, feels like it. Kind of looks a bit strange, to be honest. Maybe I have to rearrange them more like this. So that the big toe is actually sticking out a bit more. Alright, now that these are in place, I can move on to the upper arm bone here, because this lacks a little bit of detail in comparison to the rest. Probably most of it will be solved with the noise, so let's go to morph target, delete it, get a new one. Frame, reset, and apply to mesh. Want to reduce it here, but enhance it at these areas here. close to being done. Once I started with the surface stuff, get a bit out of control, to be honest. Reset. Just can't stop it. Apply the mesh. Yeah, that's me. I don't know, it's right now it's a new level of detail for me as well. So kind of in an exploratory state, trying to see how far I can push things, and it's quite exciting right now to get to this stage and see how things can be improved and what the base that I sculpted actually offers. When it comes to the base for details and stuff like that. And no, I don't know, it's just a little playground for me. Alright, same thing here. Surface, edit, reset, a little bit higher, okay. Apply to noise, off target, shrink it down, and bring it back into these areas. I mean, it's just a few seconds or a few minutes on each bone, and I think it gives a lot more detail. So, Marianne, hey, I'm doing fine. I'm getting a bit tired right now because yeah, it's getting late and I've been streaming for 4 hours, close to 4 hours. But I'm really happy how everything here turns out. How are you? Let's see if there are other things that I have to detail more. Long day of work. I feel you. Ah, cool. I thought it would crash on me again. Let's see, does this level of detail match with this one? Probably. I just want to declare the skeleton finished today. That's why I keep on doing all of this. Let's see if I get a few details here in the skull and the jawbone. So surface, edit, reset. Okay, so now apply to mesh and reduce it. All right. Just at a few areas I want to enhance that. So delete and store, surface, noise, edit, make it a reset, and the scale to something like 7 or so. Color blend to 0. And apply to mesh. Alright everybody, I think it's coming to an end. And what's really nice about watching these kind of streams is that you can appreciate the work more rather than just seeing the final product of the work. Yeah, you definitely get a better insight into the process and how long things take. So sometimes that is probably a bit overlooked. At least I did that in the beginning. I thought, he did this in like half an hour or an hour, but yeah, when I heard that character models for AAA games, for example, take up to a few months per character, like 40 hours a week for several months, that was quite eye-opening. That quality just takes a lot of time. So. Alright, I would say there's the last little bone that I have to do. So, but other than that, this will be the end of the stream for today. So let's see. Edit. Boop. Morph target, still morph target. Surface, apply to mesh. Just a few things. Yes, Akira, sorry. Yeah, I'm currently just wrapping up the last bone here. And then I will call the skeleton done. I think trying to not do any more work on the skeleton during the streams anymore. So with this stream, I would say it is officially closed in regards to the skeleton. So normally I wouldn't even be here, but the Zoom link for my class meeting wasn't working at all, so I'm a bit stressed for now. Oh, sorry to hear that. Hopefully it gets resolved soon. Bam. Yeah, it reminds me as well not to rush things, because I used to rush them. Yeah, I still do that sometimes as well. I mean, my whole YouTube channel is built on speed sculpts. So maybe the Twitch stream here is kind of an escape from that. All right. Now let's take a look at the sculpt that we did so far. Just trying to see if there are things that stick out that are not as detailed or might need some refinement, but I think this one is done. Awesome. Let's do a quick best preview render. All right. Thank you so much, everybody. This was a bit longer, but the end of the skeleton has finally come. It was a long journey till now. So yeah, next stream I will do the muscles, I would say. There's still one step for the bones, but I'm not quite sure if I will do it on stream or outside of stream, is to do retopology of those and do UVs for them. So bam, alright, that was fun watching Finn get lost in the process. Yeah, sometimes I just let loose and enjoy the process. So thanks for sticking to the end of the stream today. Sorry, Akil, for ending it right when you come back. But yeah, hope every one of you has a great day or evening. Not quite sure where every one of you are. Probably there's an evening and a morning somewhere. So awesome. Thanks everybody for participating in the chat. It was nice talking to you, and especially for the questions. And I will see you next time on Wednesday. No, today is Wednesday, so Sunday, same time. And then it's time for the muscles. So hopefully the whole study is approaching an end. And I feel it. I feel it in the tips of my fingers. That this will turn out to be a good portfolio piece for me. So thanks everybody. Take care and see you next time.